wow, you aren't gonna believe the opportunity that I just had. I had an opportunity to chat with Derrick Barnes, the author of the book Crown, an ode to the fresh cut. It was phenomenal. Actually, you know what? Instead of me talking about it, watch this. Derrick, man, this is my favorite part of life. Getting that haircut.
Getting that fresh cut, huh?
Man, it changes your whole identity.
No doubt.
It does, it does. That's why I'm so glad that you wrote the book that you did, because when you wrote Crown, it was a big deal for me. What inspired you to write Crown? You know, growing up as a kid, my grandfather used to take me to the barbershop, and when we walk out of the barbershop, he'd always say, you know, you got a new identity, you feel good, don't you? So I'm just wondering, like, what was inspiring you to write the book?
I was online one day, man, and famous children's book illustrator, award-winning illustrator, his name is D'Jon Pitchford. He's actually from Austin.
Okay.
He posted a picture of his teenage son coming home from the barbershop, and it was a side profile sketch. Beautiful, beautiful painting, man. And so I reached out to him asking if he would be interested in painting maybe like 25 images similar to that one. And I would write poems about how much we love our black sons, how much we care about them. And he was interested, but he was very busy. But I ended up writing the poem anyway, you know. I wrote it anyway, and it was like 2 pages long, and I titled it Crown, an ode to the fresh cut. And basically, I just wanted to put a shine on black boys and how it feels to go to the barbershop, and when the barber's done with you and spin that chair around and give you that handheld mirror, and how good you feel about yourself. And when they go out into the world, you know, hopefully the world sees them the same way that they see themselves. Yeah, that was it, man. And I reached out to Gordon James, who's the illustrator, the guy that did the illustrations, master illustrator, man. He did a beautiful job illustrating just the whole story. It's actually my son that's the main character in the book, Silas.
So when you wrote the book, were you interested in trying to get more people to understand the purpose behind the barbershop and the haircuts that we receive? Or what was it that you were trying to get out? What's the message behind it all?
I really just try to keep the focus on black boys, man. Like, not really caring so much about the perception of our sons, nephews, grandsons, but more so how they feel about themselves. I mean, that is the most important part of the book, man, is how they feel about themselves. Because if you see yourself in a regal light, you carry yourself that way. You carry yourself like a young king, you know? And so I just really wanted to just focus on them and how they see themselves. And also, you know, we care about our boys, man. We love our boys. We have high expectations for them.
Absolutely.
You know, when they go out into the world. So I just really wanted to keep the focus on them.
When was it that you realized the importance behind the black barbershop as a child?
That's the black man's country club, man. That's the only place in our society that we can go and get tended to, pampered on, you know what I mean? And you go to the barbershop, I don't care what city you in, there's gonna be black men from all walks of life, of all ages. So you got the mailman right next to a surgeon possibly, you know what I mean? And we all come in there, and that's where black men solve the problems of the world. So being a boy and being around these conversations, you also learn how to speak to each other, you know what I mean? You learn the value of language.
Now, you got a different kind of haircut. So what does your hairstyle mean?
This bald cut means wisdom, man.
Wisdom.
It means wisdom. It means a life well lived, you know?
You said that the person on the cover of the book Crown is your son. It represents your son.
That's my son Silas, man. Silas Nathaniel. He has that poster up in his room. He has a poster up in his room. He'll be 16 soon. He was 9 when we shot him for that cover. He's gonna be forever locked in history as the Crown cover boy. I think he does value that book cover a lot. He values that I chose him out of my other 3 sons. I think a lot of it was because he was going to middle school, and the book is kind of aimed at middle school kids. That's a very serious time when they start thinking about their own self-image, how they fit into the world, how their peers see them, you know. So I think that was a large part of why I chose him.
You know, being a middle school teacher, we kind of consider those to be the transitional years.
Yeah.
That's the time when the kids are starting to figure out who they are. And so that's why your book is so profound and so important.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
I think a lot of times what happens is, you know, we see a children's book and we think that it can only be used in the elementary school setting. Yeah. And I think that's where us sometimes as educators, we kind of fail. Because we say like, oh man, that's a children's book. I don't want to bring that into, you know, middle school or even bring it into high school. Yeah. And for me, I see it as, you know, not just a book for elementary school kids, but a book for everyone. Some of the greatest wisdom I've ever got came from the barbershop.
No doubt. Well, I was going to ask you in regards to Crown, in regards to the theme of seeing yourself, loving yourself, what kind of lesson plan would you craft for your students using this book?
When I was in the elementary school world, I used it to talk about identity. Mm-hmm. And so as we talk about building those character traits within our students, who are you? What are you gonna be? And bringing out a book like the book Crown and giving these kids the opportunity to see someone that looks like me to get to the point that I'm at. And my journey was not easy. Mm-hmm. And so I wanna share that with my students. In the middle school setting now, I have it posted in my classroom library. So now we have the book there. They say, I want to read that book. I'm gonna say, what makes you want to read that book? And they say, well, it looks cool, but do you know the meaning behind it? And so being able to share that with them and have those moments with students, and not just black students, all students, being able to have that communication with them, those type of conversations, that's powerful. And that's why it's such a blessing to be able to sit here and have this conversation with you, because this book has changed my life, it's changed my son's life. Like, it's that good, it's that good. So what you've done is a beautiful thing, and I want to say thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
I want to say thank you for that.
Appreciate that, brother. It definitely changed my life, man. I get messages every day from people from all walks of life, like you said, and everybody knows that feeling. We all know what it's like, whether it's a new pair of shoes, a new dress, a new haircut. We know what it's like to get something to kind of boost up our self-esteem and our own self-image and the way we see ourselves, regardless of what race you are.
Now that we have our fresh cuts, and we pretty much, you know, walking away got a new identity. What message do you want to get out there with the book?
I just want them to love what they see when they look in the mirror every morning before they head to school. Whatever you see in that mirror, however you got your hairstyle, whatever fresh cut you got, whatever your complexion is, let's love on yourself, you know, just have that self-confidence.
Yeah, man, and I gotta be honest with you, man. I love you for the book.
Thank you, brother.
In the world that we live in, it's so powerful for everyone to honestly love themselves. Yeah. Doesn't matter who you are, what you want to be. Yeah. Be yourself and love yourself. No doubt. And for that, man, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.